Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back from a brand new video and we have the absolute joy and pleasure to relive a thrilling encounter filled with fast, free-flowing, attacking, rampant football as Rangers won again at Ibrox and Rangers won 2 to St Mirren's 1, which again is 3 points. That's pretty much it, isn't it? Aye. Well, season Wednesday, take care of yourselves. And there is sort of that eerie familiarity regarding that performance and the end result being those 3 points, because we've seen a lot of ugly games this season. I mean, especially just in league football. The last game versus Hibs at Ibrox, 1-0 win, and this one right here certainly won't perk anybody up and certainly won't impress anyone, but it was 6 points from the available 6 in that aspect, and it is the old up the road 3 points motif, which if you are sticking in an old draw so far for Rangers this season, that draw doesn't even shut right anymore because there's that many of those type of turgid performances that's just ain't enough versus teams that, if we're being honest, we should be beating a hell of a lot more comfortably than we actually are. You know what I mean? We should have more good performances than bad, or iffy performances, or ugly performances, especially at Ibrox. But that scale certainly tips on the same way. But at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, you know how I look at all these ones. I'm happy when we win. You know what I mean? I love this club, and when we win, I'm a happy guy. Did I want it to be prettier? Aye, obviously. Ladies and gentlemen, was it ever going to be when you look at it on the back of a European night, which again is always a difficult venue, and it's always been a difficult challenge for us as a team to have a European height and then take it in, even when we had a lot better players than we've got now. And I'm not trying to say anything and say we're this new or we're this. We know where we are in terms of individually and collectively how far off we are this season. But even under all the players that everyone misses now, we saw bad results after Europe, we saw bad performances after Europe, we saw a bad performance, but we didn't see a bad result today. So I'm alright in that aspect, especially considering the way we went about our business in terms of the starting 11, as we got pretty much everybody we wanted to see in that starting 11 actually getting played. Now again, stick with me for a couple seconds, because I imagine if you scroll down to the comments, there's been people that's been a little bit impatient. Went, that's what you wanted and that's what you got, CJ, and it was still absolutely crap. And I get why people will actually say that, but at the same time, is you think about it as a team, we are now putting in guys that's been on the outside looking in for a wee while, you know what I mean, that's not been getting consecutive game time, that's not been getting consistent game time, that's not been able to build up an understanding with the other players on their part. Because not only did you have Tavernier coming out there, it's obviously been a linchpin, and everyone knows where Tav is going to be at every game, because he plays every game. You had that out there, so Nana came in, but also you continue with the Raskin-Barron partnership that we wanted, which was great, and Diomande at the 10. Look how many games they've played as a midfield free in terms of that aspect. Again, what you're looking at, 2 games in total, that's including substitute appearances. Again, you had Cerny down the right-hand side with Nana, and you could see for parts of the game the understanding wasn't exactly all in. You could see them breaking down, maybe expecting this, maybe expecting that, and it certainly never looked as familiar as the Tavernier-Cerny partnership what we've seen so far this season. But see, at the same time, see, instead of wanting to hunt down that and just getting really annoyed and really pissed off and angry and shout this and shout that, can we just give a wee bit of a second to appreciate that is the first time a lot of these players have actually started a game together. Now again, that should have happened a hell of a long time ago. You remember when we come back for the first international break, when our scants were pulled down versus Celtic? These ugly games should have been done months ago. But now we're actually going to do them, and I think when you throw so many different toys that's not been playing a lot together into that, it's always going to be a little bit ugly. I don't know if I'm making any sense here or that, but you can let me know down in the comment section below. But again, when I saw the starting 11, was I excited? Absolutely. But I also knew this isn't going to be a flawless performance. It is, again, it's going to take time for the young future of this club to build an understanding, and we saw that with the game. But the best thing you could say is, this understanding or not, they got the 3 points versus a St Mirren side that I maybe couldn't have kicked their own arses, but we know for a fact when it comes to Old Firm time, they have been a team that's been able to frustrate and annoy and take points off Old Firm teams previously in the past. They always give you a tough game, whether the form was great or the form is bad. When they're able to sit and frustrate and play to their strengths, which is the lone man up top running in behind, causing absolute havoc, they can look a hell of a lot better than they do when when the situation is they've got to get on the ball. They've got to pile people forward. They can't just sit in and hit long balls when they've got to open the game up. That's why they drop so many points. And you see that with Kilmarnock. You see that with everybody in the league. Every team that sort of bites and puts the old firm under pressure, watch them the next game week when they've got to actually get on the ball and win. Very rarely, do they go on to capitalise on that and build a win and run. No, it's usually frustrating results and mixed results. So you had a St Mirren side that was coming to Ibrox, given the way that we feel about our team and the nervousness that's still clearly in the team, versus an inexperienced Rangers team, if you will. It was always going to be ugly, in my opinion. But ugly or no, we actually won the game. So for me, I'm a happy man tonight. But I can imagine some people will be saying, oh, you wouldn't be saying that if it was A, B or C or D that was starting this game of football. And you're absolutely 100% right on that, because you know why I'd be completely different? Because A, B, C and D's had months, if not years, at this club to build up that understanding and be better than what we were today. So aye, we're actually building and playing the team, the players that are going to be here in the future of this. We're trying to lay a foundation down the day, and aye, it wasn't pretty, but I would rather see that and rather see this continue and to stick with this, because me as a fan, I'm not as angry and frustrated and disappointed, because I can sit back and say, right, I can see now there is a progression, there is a path, or at least it should have been when I ranked Igman off at half time, but we'll speak about that later on when we get to the game recap. So aye, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. You can call me a hypocrite or not, but again, I'm alright with the way this game unfolded because of all the different pieces we threw in there and said, right, go and dice on after the high European performance. So I think if you're still watching today's video, I've made it pretty clear it wasn't a great game, but it doesn't mean there wasn't a couple people that at least impressed me. And because it wasn't the greatest game in the world, we're not going to spend too much obviously cheerleading the section, but we're quick to criticise and point people out when they're playing badly. So I think it's fair to give praise to a couple of players I thought were very good today under very different circumstances. And I thought the first one was wee Raskin. Again, I thought he was brilliant on Thursday night, and the question was, right, he's just had his best game arguably in a Rangers shirt, can he actually back it up the next game week? And I thought he was in, or next game I should say, and I thought he was absolutely brilliant today in many different ways. And it was the way he was taking on the ball and he was trying to get people forward, but it was also the way he was trying to hold accountability as well, because sometimes he was playing the right pass but somebody was sleeping or they weren't in the right place, and he's taking charge. You see him screaming, you see him put his aims out, you're seeing people call out, and that's what you need in the middle of the park. You need somebody there talking. We love Connor Barron, his energy, his work rate and everything, but he's more of the Hollander, he's more of the silent type of player. You need a presence in there, and I never really expected it to be wee Raskin. It's throwing all the orders out there and demanding responsibility and demanding accountability, but that's what I saw the day when it wasn't gone right. The guy that went there and grabbed the old mic, if you will, under the spotlight and said, right, at least I'm going to try to get on the ball, at least I'm going to try and get us forward, at least I'm going to try and create things, was the wee bull in the middle of the park. So I were quick to praise Barron, who was also very energetic today. You should say, I'm going to give Raskin this one, and for me, spoilers for the rest of the game, he was my man of the match, which obviously isn't a very high bar, but again, just the way he grabbed the game. And this was a guy again that was on the outskirts just 2 games ago. So he impressed me, ladies and gentlemen, as did Leon Balogun. And I don't think we can really overstate just how important he was to this game of football, because the guy next to him put in one of the worst centre-back performances I've seen since last week. Ladies and gentlemen, as Proper was absolutely ragdolled and completely failed the Scottish football test, if you will. And Leon Balogun, who is 36 years old, had to clean up for him several times. And if you stick through the game recap, you're going to hear that slip by Proper, bodied here, bodied there, and Leon Balogun was the consistent guy that we needed back there. And it just shows you, no matter what we do in terms of the transfer market, we go here, we try this, we try that, we bring in these types of players. It doesn't matter which combination of centre-backs we try and put anywhere. For me, it's quite clear who our best centre-back is at this incredible, if not frustrating, football club. It's none other than Leon Balogun. 36 or no, Balen being able to play 2 games a week, maybe owns a bus pass, whatever you want to say about him. The best centre-back is Leon Balogun, and he underlined it the day because the big money signing in terms of, well, it's actually spending money, obviously, didn't cost too much, but you know what I mean. We went out and brought him in to be this and be that. He was completely overshadowed by the free agent emergency backup centre-back, Leon Balogun, and it's amazing how many times that's happened so far in Leon Balogun's Rangers career, both this time and previously under Gerrard and Gio. And last but not least, you've maybe heard his name in terms of some of the frustrations, in terms of the breakdowns and build-ups, but I thought Nana at right back and also when he moved to centre-back was so damn important for this game because, right, you're maybe thinking he wasn't maybe standing at right back, you know, isn't he this or anything, but I'm going to ask you watching today's video right now, did you even hear the name Kilty the day? Did you hear it? Did he get on the ball? Did he put a dangerous cross in the mixer? Did he get to the byline? Did he try anything? No. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know why? Because Nana shut down the entire right-hand side, and then when we were continually pounded down the other side in terms of the left centre-back spot, he was trusted to move over there, and he fixed the issues that were quite glaring and killing a team like this as well. So I know people are going to be frustrated on the performance, but for me those 3 players that we've just mentioned deserve a wee bit of praise, especially Nana. Maybe never scored a free kick or never done this or anything like that, but he shut down an entire right hand side. And when's the last time you saw that down the right hand side of Rangers, where the winger who's tricky and direct and gets to the byline didn't he even have a sniff? It's no sexy, it's not going to come in any highlights or compilations, but that's a fullback's first job. And I thought he was great at it. And where it wasn't as dominant down the left-hand side, I thought Big Jeff deserves a wee bit of respect as well. And I think it's important, especially at this part of the video, because we're now talking about people getting the opportunity and maybe looking a wee bit rough, and it's no being perfect, and it makes us a little bit nervous. Eggman, whoever you want to pick out here when I'm talking about this, right? But look at Big Jeff now. Think of his first 3 games at this football club. There was people ready to try and return him and look for his receipt, because defensively he was all over the place. Couldn't he track a man, he couldn't mark a man. Pretty much every pre-season he played, he was directly involved in a goal conceded. He looked rough as it gets, ladies and gentlemen, in his first 3 or 4 games for his club. But we stuck with the young project, gave him game time, gave him the opportunity to learn and find out what this league is all about. And slowly but surely, despite a massive knock, an unfair knock to him in terms of the Champions League qualifier versus Kiev, which you obviously know what happened to him, he was still able to take that, bounce back, and now he's become our most consistent fullback of the season, and he's actually getting back and helping. And you think of that as well, how massacred Robin Proper was the day, the left centre back. Again, that's Jeff at the left back position, having to help him out and back him up against an experienced player. So I think he's a perfect example of it might start off rough for these young laddies or these inexperienced laddies or the guys that's not played a lot in our team, and maybe it doesn't look like Barisic, maybe it doesn't look like Ridvan, but if you just give these young laddies time, they could eventually become a wee bit of a diamond. And I thought he's been very good, if not great, in most of his appearances since a very rocky start, and I just hope that goes to the other players we've already mentioned, you know what I mean, the Nanas, the Eggemans especially. It's a perfect wee example of what can happen if you just give these young laddies time to develop. But enough talking my nonsense, ladies and gentlemen. I have no idea if anyone's even still watching right now, but let's get to the game recap, because genuinely the first 5 minutes there was not a single highlight to break down in terms of a Rangers perspective, because it was St Mirren that started brave, gone after maybe a sleepy Rangers, an inexperienced Rangers, a unfamiliar Rangers, if you will, or they might have just been smelling a wee bit of blood because we've just came back for European football, and it starts the same with every old firm side. When you've got that tough away day, it's hard to play twice a week, we all know that by now, and St Mirren started off pretty damn hot. Long ball, gone after us, chasing down, putting pressure on it, and honestly the first 15 minutes certainly belonged to St Mirren, as they looked like they were certainly on it to go. The only thing to really talk about from a Rangers perspective was obviously Iggeman picking up a yellow card. Now for me, I didn't see honestly what it's for. I'm not sitting here playing dumb or anything. I couldn't see it, I couldn't see the angle. It looked like the referee was trying to insinuate it was an elbow, but then I checked Twitter after the game and people were saying it was absolute nonsense, you know? So somebody let me know if Eggman threw an elbow or not. It looks like 2 players just gone up, one went to the deck and Eggman got punished, and that is disappointing. But again, maybe he is just addressing the right. I might be a young laddie, I might be inexperienced, but I'm not going to fail the Scottish football test. I can put myself about as well. But aye, a yellow card to a striker was it for the first 15 minutes as St Mirren put in a couple dangerous crosses, especially going down the left hand side, as Proper just could not handle the physicality of the lone striker. And there is that feeling of familiarity as well, that by goodness gracious, great balls they fire, no matter who we put in at left centre back spot, they will make whoever we are up against lone striker at Ibrox look like a damn world beater, as the boy roasted Proper for everything. And it was just an outlet every single time, as it was one ball, and St Mirren went, right, Tavernier's no on, we can't attack down that side. There's someone that slaughtered on a weekend at the Cells. Let's go for him. And as that pressure was building round about the 9th minute, they end up getting in on goal with that number 9 taking Proper for a walk. Now, to be fair, Gogic clearly fouls Igaman here. You could see him, he just threw him down like that. The referee ends up playing advantage. Raskin tries to bring it down. I think Raskin might think that he's just going to give the foul here. But anyway, bit sleeping, bit laboured. So I think it's O'Hara that wins the ball, plays on a beautiful through ball. Striker runs through, goes one-on-one with the keeper. It's a bit right though, you know what I mean? He's a bit here. So I'm not taking too much away for the laddie, because he is about here, but he rolls it wide and doesn't hit the target, and that is a massive let-off. And it's probably the first time we've not actually been punished for that, because it feels like we're always punished when we make that mistake. And at that point you're thinking, right, Proper, you're an experienced player, you know what I mean? Maybe show a wee bit of it, but he never. Ladies and gentlemen, no for the rest of the game, and it starts to make me think maybe we should stop buying players for the league that makes Sam Lammers look like Messi. You know what I mean? Maybe we should look into that. I'll leave it. But anyway, thankfully we were able to eventually respond round about the 15th, 16th minute of the game, as Nana gets down the right hand side and hits a wonderful long searching through ball that finds the run of Diomande, who's now freed up of the shackles. He's playing at centre mid, he's now playing at that 10, and it's great he's running for what we're going to talk about later on in terms of Igaman. And if you watch Igaman's movement, it's his run that creates the gap that then Diomande then exploits. And I'm thinking, by God, that's good attacking play. Igaman takes his defenders there, it allows Diomande to run in. It's a wonderful first touch. Now his shot is barking, but it ends up staying in as it curls back, and Barami gets on the ball. And again, Barami's just a good football player. I'm not being biased, I'm not being silly here. He's just a good, talented player, and you see it every time he touches the ball, as he gets more nutmegs than I've ever seen. It gets to the byline, it gets on to that shot, and does he panic? Does he run at his defender right away, force a shot? Does he try to get to the byline? Does he try and play it backwards? No, he gets on it, he assesses it, sizes up his man, works his way into the box, and waits for the perfect opportunity to play a wonderful weighty pass to Raskin, who absolutely smashes it. And to be fair, it keeps it on target. It ends up hitting off Diomande, I think, forcing the goalie into a ridiculous save. But to be fair, where he was lucky there, he's very unlucky in the next instant as it falls to Diomande again, and Diomande tucks it away and gets his goal that a number 10 Diomande will do on occasion. And I just loved that goal, you know what I mean? It was attacking the right way, it was great movement for the number 10, it was legs and energy, and you had the calm, the composed nature of Barami picking the right pass, where Raskin has a shot that's unluckily deflected but fantastically saved by the old goalie. And you're thinking, right, we've got away with that, Rangers, let's go now, let's keep building. Now, did we? I hear you asking. Nah. Ladies and gentlemen, as Proper was sitting there looking like Officer Doofy for the original Scary Movie before the usual suspects turn, as he's just falling off. Early place, he just keeps giving the advantage, and that just gets a team like St Mirren and gives them confidence, because after going 1-0 to behind, if we could have kept the pressure on them and kept attacking up that, you really ripped the souls out them. But they realised very early that was a weak spot, and they were going to just abuse that matchup, and it worked over and over again. Now, I think the corner they eventually get after some good pressure, obviously, from St Mirren, isn't actually a corner. It didn't look like one to me. I think it should have been a goal kick, but it's given as a corner, but taking nothing away. It's a wonderful delivery in, and Gogic gets a free run to jump up and header in at the back, and it looked like probably the easiest goal he will ever score. And it looked like Miroslav closer right there, despite it being his first goal of the season. Now, playing poorly and conceding a goal for a set piece. What a fun little throwback. That is. But my problem with this one is not only is it a free header by Gogic, but it's the silly zonal marking stuff that you have proper there. Just leaving a guy like Gogic to get a run on the back of him, and Gogic just absolutely decks him on the ground. But see, at the same time, someone running is always going to jump higher than a guy standing still. Like, am I wrong? I'm a wee bit nervous now because I might be, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm pretty damn sure a guy running will always jump higher than a guy that's standing still. Maybe have one of our centre-backs on one of the frets of St Mirren. And then you have Raskin, touch tight to Gogic at a corner kick. That's all. I'm just going to leave it there because I know we won, and I'm trying to say, and I'm trying to get over it. Woosah. And after grabbing the goal that you would argue they certainly deserve, St Mirren made one fatal flaw in this game. They abandoned what was working for them, putting the pressure in to try and revert back to more, let's just time waste, let's just suck the life out of this. And that reprieve for the pressure of facing these long balls, to watch him proper try and walk towards a lone striker, actually played into his hands, Rangers, and we started getting the ball down, we started getting the ball to Nana. One of them ends up hitting a cross that's ended up, like, I think it ends up hitting the bar actually, but it's obviously kind of a scuffed cross, if you actually will. But again, pressure. Then a couple minutes later, again, he gets on the ball, running down, showing his pace, fires in a very dangerous cross that goes all the way to the back post with a hint of a deflection off Gogic, but it falls to Barami, who tries to hit it with his left foot. He's not left-footed, of course, and it doesn't end up going in. But that's a big chance for that laddie. If I've got a lefty there, you're maybe looking at 2-1 right then and there. But again, he is getting played out of position. It is on his weak foot, and he can't do much actually for it. But it was good movement again for both Barami and Egeman to sort of fake the run, and that's what creates a little mismatch that goes right to the back post. It's just good playing. You're thinking, right, it's coming, it's coming. But unfortunately, so it was Christmas for the old wallet. And it was during this 15 minutes of play when things were breaking down, the frustration was building up. We had two big chances, we couldn't take any of them, we've just hit the actual bar, you know what I mean? It starts to get a wee bit nippy, and that's when Raskin put himself in to the old spotlight and started taking the initiative, started taking some risks with through balls, that started to play some balls in behind and try to get his team forward. And again, that's why I gave him the man of the match. It was this period when the rest of the team was doing and looking a wee bit nervous. Who was the guy that stepped up and went, nah, let's not let this drag away. I know it's just St Mirren, but you can only ever beat what's in front of you. And again, we didn't do that anywhere near enough away our Rangers team should actually do. So I feel like I should praise it when I see it, especially when I don't see it very often in a Rangers shirt. Again, it's very good for Raskin, but again, it wasn't big enough. His couple through balls to Diomande, his one absolute gorgeous switch down the right hand side ends up breaking away, and the only other chance to really talk about before half time was Cerny beating two men, skipping between them, opening the lefty up, but unfortunately it's right down the old gullet of the old goalie. And it's a simple save. But aye, we go in 1-1. We're nobody happier than the St Mirren side, who's actually playing well, looking a real danger, and again has this crowd frustrated, disappointed at what they're seeing after another maybe laboured Rangers performance so far. And in usual Clement's fashion, there's a substitution at half time, and I was like, right, who's he actually bringing on? Oh, Dessers is coming on. Are we actually going to go two up top here, put them under pressure? Nah. We rip off Egeman. Now, to be fair, he might have ripped him off because he was on a yellow card, but he is a striker, ladies and gentlemen. And people might say, oh, he was playing poorly. Oh, he was running all over the place. Oh, he was doing that. Yeah, he's a project. He's a young laddie. The same was said for Jeffy, but it just takes time sometimes. And I thought Egeman's movement was actually good. If you look at the stuff that was created, it was his run that created the gap for Diomande to run into. It was his run that pulled the defender away that gave Barami a free shot. It's wee things like this you can actually look at and say, aye, there's at least something quite there. But again, I didn't really like this, ladies and gentlemen, because we are a project. We're putting the foundations and we're trying to build to the future. And I don't think you build to the future by ripping them off and playing what's failed us and previously, or what we're trying to move away for. That was my only wee frustration, that one. I didn't like it, ladies and gentlemen, and honestly I was thinking to myself, I wish he was as ruthless as he is with his old favourites, as again he seems to pick and choose who gets hauled off at half time and who gets held to certain standards despite who's playing well. But Eggman comes off, Dessers come on, and unfortunately Dessers' first action was to be directly involved in a St Mirren goal, as Cerny and Diomande do some nice work here. They play it in to each other. Cerny then plays it to Dessers, who's actually can either turn in and maybe run towards the goal or just play a simple through ball to Cerny, who's wide open, who's bet his man, but he ends up taking a touch that honestly would make Lukaku blush, and from that heavy touch it goes to St Mirren, the crowd gets there, one simple long ball, they run in behind proper and they end up putting the ball into the back of net, but thankfully the centre forward is an absolute mile offside, so we get away with that one, ladies and gentlemen. But it certainly wasn't a great injection of quality from Dessers, but again, he built his way into the game of football. And, you know, I think of Dessers, ladies and gentlemen, and I think of the journey. I think of everything I've said in this channel. I think of everything he's put me through and what we're going to talk about later on with the dive instead of scoring the easy goal, having to force his fake shot. And I truly believe Cyril Dessers would be the funniest player that's ever existed in world football if he didn't rip the joy straight from my heart. You know what I mean? See if he didn't suck every ounce of joy out of every atom in my body, he'd be absolutely hilarious, because he's just box office to watch. He's nuts. He just doesn't do things he should do. He does everything that he shouldn't do. He falls there sometimes. He scores some great goals. He gets directly involved in the win of the day, but then you're looking at all the other stuff. He's just absolutely mental to what. You never know what you're going to get, and maybe that's a good thing. In a way, it isn't for the Greys on the noggin. But again, Dessers will have his say as he was directly involved in the goal, kinda. But again, we'll also have to talk about Des on the other side, as again, he should have about 4 goals a day. But before we go ahead and speak about the goal that won the game, let's go ahead and speak about the substitution I think won the game, and full credit to Clement, as he had seen more than enough and made the big decision, because again, that's somebody he brought in. That was somebody that was improved. This Goldson got kicked out the door. This was somebody he wanted in this team. But it clearly wasn't working today, so he's big enough to rip him off, and he ended up putting Tavernier on, but Tavernier didn't play centre-half. He moved to right-back, Nana moved to left centre-back. In fact, no, Nana went to right centre-back, and Balogun went to left centre-back. And just like that, St Mirren's threat in behind was completely made irrelevant. Why? Because we had 2 centre-backs that could move. Wild. Speaking of move though, Big Dessers certainly gets on his bike here with a fantastic run, putting the defence under pressure as he runs down the left hand side. He's gone after the fullback, he's gone after the centre back, he's running them right in, and he's trying to get in, Cerny makes a gorgeous run as well, trying to get there, demanding the ball to come in. I think Dessers ends up falling over here. I don't think he actually gets anything on the ball, but because he's there, because he's put the pressure on the defender comes in with a good little tackle, but from that tackle it goes right to Cerny, and Cerny scores his 5th goal in 4 games, and what a big goal contribution that is once again. And you look at the amount of games this guy's won now for us after a horrific start in a Rangers shirt. He's another one that maybe never looked perfect right away, but it's starting to come into the boil because we've gave him time to make mistakes, learn from the mistakes, adjust to them and build his way up. And that's what I hope we treat everybody like that, like the Raskins like that, like the Igmans. That's what I want to see for these laddies. But it's a brilliant goal from Cerny, and it is end up being the last bit of in terms of hitting the ball into the back of net, as the rest of the game was a little bit rough until you're getting nearly to about the 90th minute. So I'm going to jump over a couple wee like half chances here, maybe a long shot here, maybe a blockage here or there. That was the same for St Mirren, who had a couple more set pieces to put in the mixer, but this time it was actually defended well, or Butland got the punch tip, because honestly, you're looking at 2-1 frustration right now. But if things went our way in the last 5 minutes of this game, it could have, probably should have finished at least 5-1. Because the next big chance that was created was right near the end of the game, and it's Diomande that spins away from his man. He plays it into Barami. Barami again, heed up, Disney rush it, picks the right pass, picking out Cerny 7-8 yards out. Cerny, gorgeous first touch, opens the left. I'm already up celebrating. I think it's a goal, but unfortunately it's an absolute disgusting save low to the keeper. And people saying, oh, why is he not smashed in it? Because you know Suarez. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, low and hard, the goalies can't get there usually, but that is there. It's just a fantastic save. You're getting right, there's an opportunity. Then you're creeping towards the 90, then your arse is starting to clench, then the substitutions are then made, then Sterling's finally on the park. And it was nice to see Sterling, because we gave him a new contract. Now he's been there, he's putting the cones out and cutting oranges. Like, it was actually nice to see him again. Maybe he's just standing there at the side watching Nana actually get the role that Dujon used to have. Play a position, end the game in a different one. Dujan's sitting there a wee bit jealous, but to be fair, the big mustard does get involved right here and should have an assist to his name as he gets the ball after an interception down to the byline, plays in Dessers. Dessers does a gorgeous wee spin. Look, honestly, this is it. Did you see that? I'll not do it again because I know your eyes are almost deceiving you, but it's great the way he brings the ball in, and Barami's like, Pass to me for an easy tap-in. But it's Rangers, of course we didn't. Dessers tries to hit it on the old swivel that's blocked. That's a big chance. A couple minutes later again, Barami plays in Dessers again, who spins away, has a shot that's blocked once again. But the biggest moment of the game is obviously when St Mirren was piling people, everybody forward. About the 95th minute. It's a through ball here. I'm sorry, I think I'm blanking. Is it Big Dujon that plays a wonderful ball in behind to Big Dessers here? Apologies if I'm mixing it up. But anyway, Dessers run through. He's completely on his own, ladies and gentlemen. But can he just shoot? Can he just shoot? No. Ladies and gentlemen, because he's got a fake shot, he's got to try and go around the goalkeeper, and after he goes round the goalie, he does that Umar Sadiq and just dives on the deck, wanting a penalty kick. And I don't know if people want to say, oh, I've seen he slightly touched him, and I didn't care about that. Just stand on your feet. It's literally brushed his feet with the pinky, if that. And that's one angle. The other angles didn't look like he's been touched at all. It's just one of those things. Go round the goalie and score. Stop dropping and falling and moaning all the time. It's another big freeze 1v1 for the keeper and a guy that's got a catalogue of freezing 1v1 versus the keeper. And that's why he is arguably the funniest player. If you're not a Rangers fan, you're watching Dessers and just laughing your arse off because it's easier to score. But he needs to fire, he needs to do fake shots, he needs to try and go around the goalie. He'd have probably fake shot the empty net if he actually stayed on his feet. He's an absolute enigma, a rat in a frustration-styled basket, ladies and gentlemen. But that's the life we live in, and that's the guy that leads the line at this club. No wonder we're all going absolutely mental these days. But aye, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the game, that was the match, that was the old recap. 2 goals, 3 points up the old road. We move on, and again, hopefully we stick with this young core, let them understand each other and build their way forward. That would be greatly, greatly appreciated. I didn't want it to be a one-off. I know it is. I know it is. Look, I know, ladies and gentlemen, right? I know you're saying, didn't get too excited. This will all be ripped up the next game. I know, but I'm just going to pretend that it's going to be. All right, go on, actual forward, because that youthful side, a defensive right back in there to shut down this Aberdeen side that we're going to be playing, is actually a benefit for its club. But clearly we're probably just resting Tav so he can play and get exposed versus Aberdeen, which does scare me a little bit. But we'll speak about more of that on Tuesday night in terms of the old preview. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down there in the old comment section below. Who stood out to you? What did you think? Am I talking absolute nonsense? Usually I am. You can let me know down in the comment section below. And until next time, I've been CJ92. Thank you so much for watching. All the best and bye-bye.